beating back, some of the largest military forces and blowing them out of the water.
So we have a tweet here from Benny Johnson. So this is not in Gaza. This is not in the West Bank. This is Dearborn, Michigan tonight. An entire theater cheering. Where's the fucking sound? Cheering. What could possibly? I don't get what is in these people's minds. What is it that they are cheering? What is it they think is happening? I don't get it.
Dearborn is a very dense population of Muslim people, and that's where one of the squad is actually. She's the representative.
Ilham Omar,
yeah, the one who married.
Okay, that's making a little bit more sense.
Yeah, this is also a place that was doing election fraud by reading in English to people who only read Arabic their ballots.
Xander says, I believe a lot of people are using the land excuse to profess hatred for their religion and general existence. I've seen people start with the land outrage and then dive into religious hate. Yep, makes sense to me. It goes on to say, the Israel versus Palestine fighting seems like the conservatives versus BLM. One side throws all they can, and the other side tries not to go down to their level, only to get destroyed in the process. What do you guys think?
I mean, that is definitely one of the breaking points where we're seeing this across, America right now is the political left and the political right. And I've been very disappointed in a lot of people recently that I do support, tangentially, calling for mass military intervention, calling for war. And these are the people who want to go, fix everyone else's problem, but not want focus on the United States. And I feel like that has been a major just bang for blood. These are the same people that says, maybe we should, take, in account how much we have spent in Ukraine. And maybe we should, kind of push on our allies to, hey, why aren't you guys meeting us if this is such a threat to you guys and it's on your back door?
And that seems logical. That's all the more reason why I don't want us to have been in Ukraine in the first place, because it's exactly what you're saying. It's like, well, we're certainly closer to Israel. Geographically and as allies, closer to Israel than Ukraine. So if we're sending billions and billions and billions and billions over to Ukraine, then
Joe Biden's son, what are we gonna do?
True. We gotta make sure Hunter has a job. Otherwise,
bang hookers in South America.
Otherwise, we're gonna get more dick pics. Nobody wants that.
I have a solution. Are you ready? I just thought of this while you guys were talking.
Please.
We tax the fuck out of BlackRock and State Street, and we take all of their dividend taxes and we throw it all into Israel, and then we bomb the whole Middle East, and then we make just one big condo.
One big condo.
Just one, like would all Syria be like the living room,
and then throw all the Palestinians in there and just go live.
Oh, well, have you heard about the strip city that's being built in Saudi Arabia? It's a single like long. It's a giant wall that they're looking to build in Saudi Arabia. That is like everything is. There's not going to be any cars. It's all going to be rails, and like it's a giant wall that they're building.
Or like 20-minute city things or.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So again, to kind of draw it back a little bit more to this notion that people are picking sides on this, when clearly it's hard to. First of all, it's hard to get clear information on what's going on right now. It's very complex and nuanced as to what's led up to now. Yet somehow people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm on this side," or "Oh yeah, I'm on that side." Like, did you guys see this this meme from Black Lives Matter in Chicago? And not only I stand with Palestine, but specifically the paratroopers that we saw in the beginning, where it was tourists and just people having a dance thing.
So
I need to bring up one point here. That parachute would never work. You don't put a flagpole in your chute. That will cause a rip in there, and that will cause the chute to tear. No, you put it on a carabiner on your back, and then it floats out behind you. know your parachutes, people. Sorry.
Yeah, that's gonna end up in not good, but it's Black Lives Matter. So what do we expect? So what do you guys attribute the quickness with which, like, oh, we're on this side?
But it's hilarious to me because have you ever met a Black Muslim and asked them why they became a Muslim? Because they didn't start off as one, by the way. It's great. It's a great thing. They talk about it a lot, and it's always about women, whatever, right? Rabbi Glickman's going to have a lot to say about this, but I don't really care. I used to do outreach in prisons, sir. So, what they don't understand is like the history of what it would be to be Black and Muslim. Like, if you're Black and you're Muslim, you were a fucking slave. You were an Arab slave.
You were only granted freedom if you converted to Islam.
Correct.
Well, and yeah, and this goes back to when feminism was all about protecting the culture of the Middle East, and it's like that no, you're supposed to have the other perspective. Like, this is where I actually agree with you that women are being oppressed by the government, and they're like, no.
But isn't it ironic that they are pushing for like LGBTQ rights and like fatherless homes at the same time, in the same synonymous way as backing a country who would literally murder 2/3 of these people?
It definitely is. Unwanted Foe said, quick breather for the puppy. Indeed, he needs a breather. Let's give him his treat right there. Yummy. Thank you so much, brother. Very, very much appreciated. Yeah, and I mean, what would it? Again, I'm just trying to think. Like, what is when you're making this, when you're posting this, what is the response that you think you're going to get? That's what I'm so confused as to
apartheid. Of course.
That whole narrative. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And that really scares me, because I think if that we see how propaganda, perpetuates and gets worse and gets more extreme over time. And that's going to lead us to have a lot of people who are, calling their representatives and saying, we need to support this, that, and the other. And it's not good. Oh, we have somebody here. Not sure who this is. Frosty Guns 55 said, I'm glad Frosthound is back on the show. I wonder who that could have been. I wonder. But of course, we will give Morty his treat. Thank you, buddy. Very much appreciated.
Sorry, this is my first time. I never know when we're taking a break. I'm very sorry if I sound like a piece of shit.
You're good.
Can we talk about how I talked about apartheid and how it's only natural for there to be violence? Literally, South Africa didn't, though. There was no violence. The most
Go ahead.
Was broken up without a shot. Like, Nelson Mandela did it peacefully.
But did that peace last? Because are you aware of what's going on in South Africa now?
There is some race stuff happening down there, and it's not great, but it's now kind of roles are reversed.
So then what's the parallel then? What is let's go with their logic that this is an apartheid.
Oranges here. So like saying like South African apartheid, the most famous apartheid, the natural way for things to end in violence, and that has not happened. Like, what you're talking about is genocide, maybe? And I don't know how that would even, what are you likening it to? Which apartheid only ended in violence?
Yeah. What were you going to say about what's going on in South Africa now, Frostdown?
Well, I mean, it is a interesting, comparison here when we're talking about the end of apartheid. Ending apartheid is, it is good on its face there, but we do see the racial, majority in that country starting to oppress the racial minority there. And it is one of those thought experiments I have with South Africa in particular here is, one of the great arguments was, the Boer was getting rich off the land, and they owned all the land. Well, the land really wasn't that productive until English, colonialism, and actually started digging canals and aerating those fields and developing farmland. and so they put in the work for that, land. They have had generations and generations of family there, but yet, well, you're not African, because it goes more to a race thing instead of a culture thing. And I do see that there is still this racialized standard, or like, well, you're from this area, you don't belong here. And it's just like, it boggles my mind that we're in 2023 and it's just like, you're too white to live in Africa. You can, remember, I'm a Hispano. My family has lived in the San Luis Valley for 300 going on 400 years. We have connections to the Utes, but when you look at me, you're going to only see a white boy. But I have my little abuelita who makes the tortillas, and grinds her chilies, and we have our tamales.
Yeah. So Xander has another question here for Jerkolani. He said, "Is there a specific area of Israel that Jews and Muslims both want? I've heard of the Temple of Mount, holy sites, but what is the specific area that both sides want, like the exact spot?"
So Jerusalem, it's where the first temple was ever built, especially Jerusalem. So like that's something that is it's a highly controversial point, but there was the first temple literally ever built was built in Jerusalem. So I think that would be probably the most controversial area of Israel. They literally say it's like Jerusalem and East Jerusalem now, I believe. I'm not really sure exactly how they split it up, but they still the West Bank is where they say like or is it Gaza on that side?
Yes,
we just looked at the map and I'm like turned around now. But it's a highly controversial area. So yeah, the one on the right side.
Yeah, on the other side.
Is where Jerusalem is. Yeah, Jerusalem's over there.
So
and you do see where it's broken up, yeah.
Yeah,
so it's kind of hard to see, and then I can't find a good one, but you can see this is a little bit darker than this, and so this is Jerusalem. Is that where this whole thing is Jerusalem, and it's split in the middle here?
Jerusalem technically is the little brown piece, and they call that other part in Palestine East Jerusalem, but it's all Jerusalem.
Gotcha.
And that's why when Donald Trump moved did he move like the UN building there or something?
No, the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
And he named it a part of Israel. It was a very highly controversial thing because it's been something they've thought about over for 80 years.
Well, because both cultures see that area as a holy land, and so that was kind of America putting its thumb on the scale there and saying, like, hey.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, good.
My thing is like, put the thumb on the scale. What if Israel took over Mecca or Medina?
They would not like that. They would not like that.
That's our Mecca.
Fair enough. So Rabbi Glickman is saying, look at a and I just clicked on one, so I know
what he's about to talk about.
Is this what I'm looking for? I might I'm not seeing a.
So I'll tell you what he's actually talking about. So in 1948, Israel was much smaller. And then after a 9-year war, I think it was about 9 years. And I believe it was in the 1960s.
Of course, it was tiny ass
during Yom Kippur, which is the New Year. If you guys don't know,
time lapse it. What the fuck you think I got here, bro? I'm googling pictures. What you mean time lapse it?
Some real pro-Palestinian map where he's like, "Let me show you. It all just says Palestine."
And so what?
Yes, but they did declare a war and they lost.
So wait, are we saying that? So is this Rabbi Glickman's way of saying that it was Palestine? It was originally Palestine, and so it should say Palestine. Is that what you're saying? I know where he's going.
Yeah.
What's an ad hominem? I didn't hear an ad hominem.
Well, that or it could be straw man. Rabbi, do you mean that land was originally Palestinian and it should remain Palestinian, or are you saying just after the war and post-war? because I can make arguments for the war again. And this
Yeah,
is going to be a little bit of my, Zionist coming out, starved, fucking people who could barely fight, learning Krav Maga, a fight, that is for starved, refugees, beating back, some of the largest military forces and blowing them out of the water.
There you go. There you go. So, I mean, if that's not where you're going, Rabbi, I think you have a lot to react to there. Cooter's like, you got to get a 4D geological topographical time lapse with commentary. Yeah, I apologize, guys. I apologize. But the super chats are open if you would like the 4D geological topographical time lapse with commentary.
I messed up. I found my note.
Okay.
It wasn't a 9-month war. It was a 6-day war that ended on the last day of Yom Kippur. And it was a consolidation of Palestinians. It was a 6-day war that where they took back the Gaza Strip and the West Bank from Egypt and Jordan. So before 1964, Palestine was controlled by Egypt and Jordan. They could have called it whatever the fuck they wanted to call it, but it was run governmentally by respectively Egypt and Jordan.
And so with the in Egypt and Jordan, was there a mixture of Jews and Muslims? And that's where, this started. Like, how did we get to a place where from where Egypt and Jordan are like, we got this, to now we're like, okay, we need this little spot for the Jews.
1948, there was a land grab, right? The year right after they deemed it Palestine, there was a land grab by Egypt and Jordan, because really they want land and power. It really has nothing to do, like, these countries don't want anything to do with conflict. They just want the power.
The power.
In 1948, they took control of, like, the Palestinian, what would be Palestine now. And then in the 1960s, they formed something called the PLO. It's like the Palestinian Legion Organization, which would then turn into Hamas. And it's a group of all the surrounding Islamic countries that would help fund Palestinians take back their land. But really it was to help them do a further land grab. And in 6 days, lost.
Let's get into this a little bit. The PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, is a Palestinian nationalist coalition that is internationally recognized as the official representative of the Palestinian people. Founded in 1964, it initially sought to establish an Arab state over the entire territory of the former mandatory Palestine, advocating the elimination of the State of Israel. However, in 1993, the PLO recognized Israel's sovereignty with the Oslo Accord, and now only seeks Arab statehood in the Palestinian territories, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, that have been militarily occupied by Israel since 1967. Interesting. So, I mean, there really is so much here, which only piques my just flabbergastery, if that's a word, at how many people can be so deep into any one camp. It's like everybody's trying to look at, how liberals are always talking about the right side of history, and especially from an American perspective, to be taking a side in this conflict that's not as black and white like that. It's so odd to me. It's so odd. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio, and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.